Good morning and welcome to the greenhouse today. Thank you so much for being a Patreon member. Hopefully these videos are helping you to have the very best garden of your entire life. It is my hope that you will look at what we're doing in these videos and look at the details of soil health so that you can have an awesome soil and awesome plants too. Today I want to show you something that I've never made a video about. We're going to be looking at these carrots. Now I've made videos about carrots, but not about the particular subject we're talking about today, so pay attention. These carrots were planted last fall, late summer. I forgot exactly when, but I think it was like the end of August, early September when we planted these. So they grew for like all of September and October, and then probably most of November. But towards the end of November, it got really cold, and we had 20 below zero outside, and it froze everything in here. Just light frosts in here, but it stopped the growth of the carrots at that point. Plus, the daylight is so short in the end of November and throughout December that you don't get much active growth anyway. Elliot Coleman called those the Persephone days because the growing season was gone. So what happens to a carrot is they're a biennial. That means that they grow for 1 year, they produce a root, the edible root we eat, and then they have this beautiful top. When winter comes, the top of the leaf dies back. So all of these leaves you can see here, they die back in the winter. We don't really have winter type conditions in here, so the leaves never died completely back. But I want to show you something that's happening here. I'm going to try to get a good close-up of this, because for a biennial, the second year they start growing, so once springtime comes, and the greenhouse thinks it's springtime in here, then they start growing a second time, and that's when they go to seed. And the root will change from a beautiful, edible, tender, crunchy, great carrot to a root that is woody, like you're chewing on a stick, and it's not edible anymore. So once these new roots come out, I'm going to see if I can change this a little bit and see what we're looking at. So there's a good close-up. There's a close-up. I think we're going to go with that one. So I'm going to get my hand in here. You can see the old tops over here that are yellow. These grew last year in the fall as the plants were growing. The frozen weather has turned them yellow and knocked them down. If we go down even further, we can find a whole bunch of leaf material that now is part of the detritus, and it's on the surface of the soil, and the microbes are down there working on that, creating a healthy soil. So that's food for the microbes, which is fantastic. But now that warm weather is coming in the greenhouse, what we have going on here are these little brand new shoots. New growth is beginning to grow on these plants. So right here, you can see these little tiny leaves that are just coming out of the top of the plant. I'll pick that one off and we'll look at it here. But when you see the new growth starting to come out, that means that these carrots are going to seed. And what I mean by going to seed is they're going to make a flower. And so this whole area will be flowers. And that is fantastic if we want to grow carrot seed. It's not good if we want to eat the carrots. So within the next couple of weeks, before the roots change and turn into hard sticks that you can't eat, I mean, you can eat them, but it's like chewing on a piece of wood. We need to dig these, put them in bags, get them in the fridge or in a root cellar. We'll probably put ours in the walk-in cooler because we have it. We're blessed with the walk-in cooler. So we will put these in there, keep them at a refrigerator temperature, which is, 34 to 45 degrees. So we keep them cold, and they will stop growing at that point because they're cold, and they're not getting light from the leaves because we're going to cut all the leaves off. And so they will stay in a place where we can eat them for the next, 3, 4, 5 months, as long as a carrot stays in the fridge, which is a while. So that is what we want to do here. So I loosened part of these carrots with a shovel a second ago. So we're going to come up here and we're going to pull The carrot's right here. You can see where I put the shovel in to loosen the ground right there. So this was loosened up. So I'm going to grab this handful right here, and we're going to gently lift right there. Okay, now, when I get it up 4 or 5 inches, I like to just give it the good old wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then all of the... There goes my cell phone out of my pocket. That's funny. So there's those guys. And we're looking at the carrots here to see if we get a lot of active growth on the roots. So this one, perfectly ready to eat right now. This one, that one's fun. So it split, made 2 roots. So that's not saleable. People don't buy that at a farmer's market, usually. Or a store. They wouldn't take that carrot. Now this one, that's one that's starting to go to seed. And I'll show you in a second why. This one is edible. This one's edible. That one has one of those roots on it. So we'll put it in that pile. And that one over there. So most of these right now, this one's starting to put out the new roots. So I'm going to take these 3 right there, and right there. Now I'm going to get a close-up, and we're going to discuss what we're looking at in these roots. Okay, so here we go. So that middle carrot there, you can see right in the middle of the screen, you can see those brand new white roots that are starting to come out. I'm going to see if I can touch one of them. So right here. Right there. Touching that with my finger right there. See that root? I'm going to twist that so it's easier to see. Maybe. Okay. It's like a microscope camera. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so right here. You see that little white root coming out and that one and that one? So there's 1, 2, 3. So now that you can see those kind of all over these carrots that are starting, but they're just barely starting. So that's the new growth of the roots that happens at this time of year that shows us that these are starting to go to seed. The carrot root will start putting out all kinds of those white roots. They start coming out, they start thriving, they're growing beautifully. And then the top puts out the new shoots, and then you get a tall stem that comes out of the top of the carrot that'll get 3 feet high. Different varieties get different heights, but they'll get really high, and they'll have the flower on it. And I don't want that to happen in the greenhouse. I mean, I might let 1 or 2 grow in here just for fun, but just for diversity purposes. But mostly, I'm going to harvest all of these. So we will need to watch these carefully in the next couple of weeks. And if we start seeing carrots that are putting out a lot of those roots, or if the seed stock starts shooting up into the air really fast, we need to get them all dug immediately and get them in the fridge, or else the roots won't be edible anymore. Now, I could just dig them all right now, but, excuse me, I could dig them all right now and get them into the... Oh, man, there's a cat. I could dig them all right now and get them into the oh, yeah, look at this cat. Yeah. Hope he catches a bird. There's been a couple of wild cats around here. I think that's one of our cats that's not as wild. I'm so excited. I'm glad he came in here. There's a couple of holes in the greenhouse, and I've left them open so the cat can get in and out. So that's fantastic, because I've had mice in here, and I've had voles in here. And the mice and voles will both eat carrots and all the other crops. So I'm so glad he's in here. I was trying to get him to come in here a while back, but I couldn't get him. I couldn't catch him, because he's not really a tame cat. I tried to lure him in with some cat food and a piece of meat, and he'd come close to me, but I could never pick him up. This is fantastic. Yeah. So to finish my thought on carrots, we could go ahead and dig them all right now, but I think they store better if they're in the ground. I like to dig them and then eat them the day I dig them. It's funner that way. Of course, if we needed the room to plant another crop, we would dig them and just get them in the fridge because they're still perfectly healthy and nutritious and fine. Hopefully this helps you to manage your carrot seeds.